I canceled mine. We're in the middle of house reno, so there's no session for us. We're starting again on the 5th of July, which is your 4th of July.
Okay. Over to you, Don.
Over to me. Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. I've learned not to say good morning because we're all over the place. I see some new people. Hi, Chris. Nice seeing you on. Somehow you must have gotten the word. And not Chris Jensen. I'm talking Chris Stacy. Sorry about that, Chris. And Daryl's with us this morning, plus a whole pile of regulars. Somebody's got a fire alarm going off. That's cool.
Oh, sorry. No, it's my clock.
Oh, okay. Well, that tells me it's time to go.
4 o'clock.
It's I love the informality of our various noises going on, etc. The last time I did a presentation here, I made comments at the beginning that it was going to be longer than most, and therefore a shorter question and period time. This one, it's going to be shorter than most, and trying to get everybody involved and what have you. The first 2 or 3 times, we did some choreographic moving of things, and people, it seemed to be received well. And I thought we would do another one of those, slightly different. First of all, we have the addition of caminations, I keep leaving the syllable out, that should help us visualize what's going on a little better. And second of all, a different twist to it is something that Chris Jensen suggested that she once did in a caller school and worked out well. So without further ado, I'm gonna either start screen sharing or ask Dan to let me start screen sharing.
Okay, try screen sharing again, please.
There we go. What? Well, all those things popping up on my screen here. So I guess this is where, oh, I know what I wanted to do. I'm going to unscreen share for a second. Excuse me for turning like that. I keep thinking I hear something coming up my driveway, and I'm expecting a package that didn't come yesterday. Participants. I like to have that list up so I can pick on people individually. There, I've got that up, and now let's go back to screen sharing. And we're going to screen share this. So, and I don't know, hide this. How do I do that? That's good enough. No, it's not. I click here. That makes it tiny. That's good enough. So you guys should be able to see terminations. And I also have a list of a whole bunch of nice people with us. You guys. So the suggestion, in the past, we've had you physically or mentally try to figure out where people are going and what have you. This time, we had you think about formation and arrangement. For the time being, let's not even think about arrangement. Just for the time being, let's think about just formation. And can I change that some way? Couples, dancer shapes. Bang. Let's just think about formation for a little while. We'll go into arrangement afterwards. Going right down the list. Dan, give me 2 or 3 or 4 or 15 calls to get me into parallel ocean waves.
Heads past the ocean and extend.
Next on my list is Brad. Get me into facing lines from here.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if my audio is on, but we'll give it a try here.
It is. It is.
Yeah, okay. Boys run, bend the line.
We don't have any boys yet, but
Oh, okay. Centers run, bend the line.
does everybody agree that's going to get there?
Yep.
Or does anybody disagree or want us to go slower? John, you're up next on the list. Oh, that'd be too easy. Get us to two-face lines, parallel two-face lines.
Parallel two-face lines. Well, you're. Oh. Parallel two-face lines. Pass through. Well, I guess
These dancers know how to do an undo, but it's not really necessary.
all right. I got to figure out how to turn them 90 degrees here, huh?
Well, tell you what you're going to do is dance a little till something starts to look familiar. Like you might get there. Make believe you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Pass through wheel. Let's do a wheel and deal.
Sounds good to me.
I got to get that 90-degree thing there.
Don't worry about 90 degrees, because I think you can do it in 2 calls, and you can do it without turning the dancers at all.
Yeah, I don't mind if they're facing north-south or if they're facing east-west. Thank you for noting that we were concerned about that, Dan.
Okay, let's go. Centers pass through, veer left. How's that? Did that work?
It's good to me.
Yeah.
Next on the list is Mel. These are right-hand two-face lines. Get me into left-handed two-face lines.
Everybody wheel around.
Interestingly enough, I had something else that I would have done, and I'm curious how these guys handle it. Huh?
Tag the line face left if you want.
Yeah. It's an awkward because your right shoulder passed through and the face left has you offset. I'm just curious how Taminations
It doesn't like it.
tag the line. Can I do that on one line? I don't think I
I think so,
can.
yeah. Tag the line face. I think that'll work. Give it a try.
Okay.
Yeah.
So either way, let's see. Next on the list is Jolanda. Get me lines facing out.
Two already are.
As I said, just call something and see if it gets you an easier formation.
Okay,
to work
I was
with.
just trying to figure out how to just have to turn 2 of them because 2 of them are already facing out.
I'm not going to use this, but you could call trailers wheel around. But we aren't going to use that.
Okay.
Because I gave it to you.
Ferris wheel?
That'll do something.
Yeah. Okay, and then everybody turn left. All 8. turn left. So how do you do that?
This is
Face
how
out?
you want some to turn left and some to turn right.
Yeah.
I've typed a hint.
Okay, face out. All legs face out.
Okay.
Okay.
It's funny because I thought I'd make it easier for a while and eliminate which the men are and which the women are, and yet every get out that I had in mind had the men do something or the women do something, so that wasn't too good. Let's go one more, and then we'll put men and women in there and start over again. Alan, you're next on my list. Let's see. Let's have you make. Ooh, do a quarter tag formation. You have a good feel for what that is?
Yeah. So half tag. Extend. Outside straight.
Whoops, wrong button here. Perfect. Guess what? I'm going to do something here. I'm going to go back to this and ask the next person on the list to do the same thing. Carol, get us to quarter tag formation a different way.
Did you
Carol,
say Gerhard?
I'd muted myself, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Wheel and deal.
Whoops.
Step to a wave.
That's what I was thinking too. Okay. Oh, I know what I want to do. I'm going to do one more person doing that because I think this ought to be fun. Chris Stacy, can you tell that we have lines facing out?
Yeah, they're couples and they're sachets.
So
So there's a call that's pretty yucky, but you could do it in one call. Just I just thought I'd mention it, and you could just say everybody do a 1/4 tag.
let's see if
Canimations knows that. I'm impressed with this program. This is pretty cool.
it worked. I'm ashamed that
I wouldn't call that because it's not.
I know, but I thought you'd come up with something original. Foolishly, I was thinking of 3/4 tag in the leader's trade, but this is even better.
Well, but that was the first first sequence we saw to get into the quarter
Was it
tag.
a 3/4? Oh.
Well, he did. The first guy did a half tag and then extend.
Right.
Yeah.
Which you may or may not have realized is the same as doing a 3/4 tag. And then he did leads trade. Yeah.
It certainly depends on the floor. Some floors you give them a half tag and extend, and they'll do it perfectly. In a 3/4 tag, and they'll look at you and go, "What?"
Right.
Just to clarify, yeah.
How about calling a half tag 1.5? Okay, now we have men and women. Stacy, I'm curious if you have this thing enlarged large enough so you can see it.
I can kind of see it, but I probably don't need to.
Okay. Do you mind if I tell people why I ask you that?
Yeah. Well, I can't. Yeah, I can't see. I have vision problems.
Chris has been calling for a long time. A very successful sight caller and mental image caller, and has recently gotten sight problems. So he's some things you can see if they're big enough. Okay, and he's still calling, and I heard a tape of it, and I was very impressed. Um,
Can
now
I make a
we-
request? Can I make a request? If you're not speaking, can you please mute?
You may make that request. Yeah. All right, let's see. So my list order has changed. It was very convenient when it's the same order. Let's see if we can go someplace else. I know what. We'll pick on Daryl. Daryl, I want parallel lines with 2 guys on one end and 2 guys on, men on one end and women on the other end.
Excuse me, you want parallel, you want right-handed, I don't know parallel two-faced lines, I know right-hand two-faced lines.
I thought I said,
fine. Never mind.
I thought I said parallel waves.
No.
I didn't?
No, you said lines.
Oh,
I don't have any problem with it. It was just, it's confusing to me a little bit about, parallel waves.
I tend to confuse
all
dancers.
all that put aside. Okay, let's have the heads pass through. Separate around one to a line, pass through, tag the line, face.
Wait,
right,
slow her down, slow her down.
Oh, sorry.
Separate.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go so fast. But while he's typing that.
You have to type head separate.
Thank you.
I would call that a flow module. It's something that I know where it's going and I know the beginning and end result, and I might do it for a specific purpose, which was, but boys on one end, girls on the other end.
I caught up to you. Where are we going from here?
Pass through. Tag the line. As you desire, right or left.
So that's
Is
good.
that what you asked for?
But that's not what I was trying to ask for. But that was my mistake because I was mumbling. I was trying for parallel waves, even though I didn't say it.
Oh, okay.
But you got what you thought I said, so let's go from there. Next, Gerhard, get me to parallel waves with 2 men together, 2 women together.
Let me try. Bend the line past the ocean.
That'll do it. If I spell it right.
He knows that works because he knows that if you just bend the line, that the people are still together, and he knows that when you do pass the ocean, the person that you're next to, of course, is you're still going to be next to them after you do the pass the ocean.
Eva, let's get facing lines with normal couples. Straighten these guys out.
Centers run. Facing lines, normal couples.
Yeah.
All right. How about center circulate? Oh, wow. Okay. So, all right, I got an idea. I mean, I guess, this not, doesn't flow well, but bend the line.
What we're doing here is we're just keeping them moving till it looks familiar because we're trying to normalize because eventually we're trying to resolve. So you're doing great.
Yeah, I can't do a star through. Okay,
Oh.
past the ocean. single hinge. Men run.
I think you're getting there.
And then, yeah, bend the line.
Cool.
Yeah.
Could I make a comment?
Yes.
I hate to butt in, but it might be useful to know that anytime that you can get the ends or the centers or the boys or the girls fold and have opposite sexes facing each other. You understand what I'm saying?
So yeah,
anytime you can get opposite people facing, opposite genders facing each other, you can start through and have normal couples. And regardless of a lot of things, you can say any kind of a line that you need or want, bend it, and you've got normal facing couples.
I'm going to undo Daryl till we get a situation like that so we can see it.
Okay.
The magic thing there being star through is your friend.
That's what normalizes, but you need to get the opposite couples facing, or the opposite genders facing. So
okay,
you can do that star through. And the fold is the part of it that brings that about.
We need opposite genders facing.
How about have the ends fold?
Well, I'm going to do bend the line. Huh?
Okay, do what you want.
Wait a minute, I want to hear what he was doing. Oh, well.
Okay. Well, I've gotten opposite sexes facing right now.
Oh, I see. I see.
So you're saying if I do a star through?
Yeah, star through.
No.
Am I with you?
This is not what I was saying. Go back
Okay.
to the two face lines. Was it he, she? I didn't think it was at the time.
Oh, well, you know what?
Have
This
centers
does,
trade.
this doesn't have a redo.
Have centers trade.
Well, yeah. When Eva was doing that, she called centers circulate, which had basically the same effect of of doing that with the sexes. Yeah,
that's fine. Okay, let's have the boys fold in front of the girls.
Oh, right. Okay.
Or have the girls fold in front of the boys, or have the star through. Star through.
And
I
now
don't
it's
care what your line looks like, bend it.
Oh.
So
they will adjust to lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in my challenge groups, I used to say, bend it or whatever, and adjust.
It's a cure-all is what it is.
Yeah.
And frequently, you can see one couple in a square that doesn't oops. Well, everything is good except for that one couple there. If you can get it to where you can get all the same, make normal things by doing a boys fold, girls fold, ends fold, whatever, and do a star through. You might have an unsymmetrical situation of lines. You might have two of them facing the same direction and the other two couple facing opposite direction. You bend those lines, you're going to have normal facing lines. So you can clean up a lot of things with two different real good tools for solving problems. One of them would be folds, the other would be tags. Tag the lines, right, left, in, out, especially when you get unsymmetrical. I hope everybody understands symmetry. Unsymmetrical situations. It's a cure-all. Okay, I said my piece.
I want to add to your piece. If you have two people facing in their opposite sex and you don't know whether people are I'm repeating what you said, but I'm going to add to it. And you don't know if they're normal couples or half-size shade couples, when you call star through, everybody's going to be in a normal couple. The formation may be one thing or another, but everybody's going to be normal. But sometimes if you don't have enough, this is where I'm adding to it. Sometimes if I don't have enough time to make sure boys are facing girls, I will call doing touch a quarter men run will do the same thing as star through. But if I'm not quick enough to see that men are facing women, I will call touch a quarter, and that'll give me enough time to see if it was same sexes, in which case I can't do a men run, and I couldn't have done a star through. I'll call touch a quarter, and if it was facing same sex, instead of calling men run, I'll have enough time to see what I'm doing, and I can play around a little more till it's correct. Did that make sense? It did to me when I was thinking about it.
Essentially, Don, what you're saying is for brand new callers, there's an old habit of teaching forward and back when you're in lines to fill in the spot. You don't do that. You use a touch a quarter that allows you to see who's dancing with who, and you can make your judgment call to keep going or to change the genders, or you've identified the gender relationship.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's a different way of doing the filler. I think, Daryl, correct me if I'm wrong, what you were saying was wherever you have a boy, girl, and you're not sure, just call one of the genders fold, star through. That will normalize. And whenever you have two genders together, boy, girl, in a facing line, just call a star through, because symmetry, that will normalize them into couples no matter where you are. Is that correct?
I was nodding my head, but yes, that's correct.
And I think he was also pointing out that if you, if the dancers get into an asymmetric mistake type situation, that calls like everybody face out and so forth are very useful.
Yes.
So if I'm here, if I'm trying to straighten things out here and I call men fold, I'm going to be in trouble. And I can call men cross fold, and then I'm going to be in more trouble. Men cross.
Will terminations do that?
No.
That error message there saying the centers and the ends cannot both cross fold seems pretty plain to me.
Do a centers U-turn back pass through.
Yeah, am I wrong in thinking that I can have the centers cross fold here?
You can with an extended application, but the standardization of the definitions and the choreography that's programmed into it will not allow that.
Well, obviously terminations won't, but I thought I could.
So did you type centers cross fold? Because I only saw you type in boys cross fold, but I might have
I did say boys cross fold. I wanted a big offset thing there.
You have one end and one center.
You've got same sex.
Yeah, I wanted this one to face here and this one to face here.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just trying to, I think he was just going for the, because with the folds and stuff, there's sometimes there's a question of whether you retain offsets and what have you. So if we did the boys cross fold, all the boys would go way over there to where the girls are. And then if you did something like star through or pass the ocean or whatever you did over there, then the dancers are going to wind up offset, and they're really supposed to stay that way. That's really correct for them to be offset like that, which is not really a good application of plus.
No, it's not. Sometimes terminations gives you the offsets, and sometimes they don't, obviously. I was just curious. So, Chris Jensen, give me a problem to give to somebody else. You had some ideas before. Chris, Chris, are you still with us?
Yeah. The reason that we did this in caller school was because when you're calling, you sometimes just, in order to do some choreographic idea that you have, you need to set up the dancers in a particular formation and arrangement. So say that you wanted to do a setup where you had a quarter tag, but all the boys in the center wave and all the girls on the outside. For some reason, that's what you wanted, that would work out well for an application that you had in mind. So we would practice just setting up various formations and arrangements while keeping the dancers moving. We weren't trying to get the most clever way to immediately do something, like immediately have lines facing out. It was more just to be able to keep the dancers dancing while you were working towards setting up, and dancing smoothly while you were working up towards setting up a particular formation. So how about set up a quarter tag with all the boys in the middle?
That sounds like a good one. An ocean wave of boys in the middle with women as couples on the outside facing in, just as a less official way of saying the same thing.
And whenever we're playing this game, right? When you ask somebody to now go make one of these, they have several choices. They could be thinking, I don't know exactly how to, I don't have a really great idea, so I'll just kind of mess around a little bit and try to approach it, which is fine. Or they may have an idea of, this would be the fastest way to get there or the cleverest way to get there. And another option is, this would be the nicest, danciest, pleasant way to get there. And so those are all choices that you make when you when it's your turn. So
you want us to tell us which version we're doing first, Chris?
Well, I don't know that from what Chris is the other Chris is saying, that that the exercise is intended to keep the dancers moving while you're figuring out how you're going to accomplish it.
And I think
that would point towards the calling something nice, but that is, I don't know that that's necessarily what everybody wants to do. I was just pointing out to people that whenever it's your turn, you have a little palette of possible things, strategies you could use.
Daryl, let me throw in one thing, and then I'll hear something you want to throw in. But the method that Chris was saying was what I was trying to do earlier too. Just keep them dancing, keep them moving until all of a sudden you see a way to get there, just as an example of keeping them moving, as I said with these other people. What was your thought, Daryl?
This being on the newbies page. Okay. My suggestion would be KISS. Keep it simple. If there's ways that you can find that the newer caller is going to be able to handle, to find tricky ways or the cutest way or all of those things for new callers seem to be stretching pretty much. That's why something as simple as fold and star through takes care of lots of things for new callers. It's a good rule, but I'll shut up with that said.
Well, I agree. Yet here, where we're going to try for a quarter tag with men in the middle, and I'm going to pick a random name. I'm not looking for the simplest way to get there. I'm looking for, if don't sit there for 20 minutes trying to think of the simplest way. Call something and another, and eventually something will come out. It's not so it's a combination of the exercise of both parts. Who's next on the list? The list is already changed around. Cynthia Jackson. Can you get me a quarter tag formation with the men in the wave?
Okay. I'm really new to this, so I don't know.
Okay, well, I won't do it this way then. I'll do it this way.
Quarter tag formation?
Yeah, an ocean wave of men.
Head square through 4. Oh, I did the wrong.
No, you didn't do the wrong. You just keep moving till something looks familiar.
Okay, step to a wave. Then the line.
Which line do you want them to bend?
They're doing exercises for new callers and somebody called bend the line from an ocean wave.
But I
And
know
I said that's not a line.
I know.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was asking.
Woman said bend the line. I said that's not a line.
Yeah.
It's an ocean.
Yeah, that's not a line. Okay. Like I said, I'm really new at this.
That's why I said
they're
which
giving
line
people
do you
setting up
want
things and saying, okay, so get these people at a quarter tag formation. And
Whoever's
think
talking
somebody-
right now, I think you're talking to someone in the background and not
I'm
to.
I'm just watching, but
You think you're just watching, but your mic is on.
Larry, please mute.
sorry.
What's the name of the lady that's calling right now?
Cindy.
Yeah.
Cindy.
So you're new at this, and so was at one point everybody here.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm on the newbies.
Yep. So just keep going.
I can't think. I was afraid I'd be put on the spot. I was hoping I was way down on the list.
Well, I'm torn between not putting people on the spot. I don't want to put people on the spot, but including people that are newbies that need this kind of an exercise.
Yes.
So typically from an ocean wave, what people call swing through. Should we do that and see where
Swing
it goes?
through. Sounds good.
Okay. Are you thinking of what the next call is going to be? What do we typically do after
Can you
this?
tag the line from here?
You can legally, but it's very awkward. The centers have left shoulders and they should have right shoulders to tag the line.
Okay.
But as I'm not going to let you do this, but as Chris Stacy said earlier, by the way, Chris Stacy is spelled with a C and Chris Jensen is with a K. So if I say Chris, you ought to be able to tell if I said C or K.
Well, no, you can tell because we're on opposite coasts.
Yeah. Well, Chris isn't on the coast. Which one? Anyway, as Chris said earlier, you can do a 1/4 tag from here and it'll get you exactly what we want. But that's pretty hokey and it's not something that a newer caller is going to do. So
It's not something that a caller with any sense would do.
that too. Okay, so Cindy, what typically would people call after a swing throw? We still have right-handed waves with men in the middle.
I don't remember. I can't think. It's been too long since I've danced.
Okay, I'm gonna do a men run because that's typically
okay.
That doesn't get us any closer to what we want, but
now you can tag the line.
we
right?
can. You want to do a tag the line?
Do a 3/4 tag.
I like that. Let's see if Taminations likes it. No, I guess I got to tell them.
I think you got to do 3/4 at the front.
Yeah, but you started by saying tag the line, so I was typing.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get scored on my typing later. One more pretty simple call should get us there. We have the wave in the middle. We want women on the outside facing in. Currently, they're facing out.
So outside's partner trade.
Yeah, no, let's call it girls just for the heck of it, because I don't know
Girls
if it's
trade.
handled out. And we got there. You know what I'm going to do now is go back home.
Not only did we get there, but that was a perfectly pretty good way to get there.
Yeah.
That was actually.
Mainstream, Don.
Yeah. If we wanted the girls in the middle. But so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back and we're going to try and get to that same formation, but I'm going to pick on somebody else. Let's see, going down the list. John Sloper. Did I mispronounce your name?
Yes, you got it correctly.
Yes, I mispronounced
He's
it.
much better than I am.
You pronounced it correctly. You get bonus points for today.
Okay. Why? How do people normally mispronounce it?
They think they pronounce it like there's two P's.
Oh, slopper?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my mind kept saying. No, I don't know what I kept saying.
It's phonetically easy, but actually, as a quick story, my oldest sister had an argument with a teacher once. That the teacher, by the way, that the SLOP would be slop, and you put an ER on it, so it'd be slopper. But if you know your phonetics, a single consonant followed by a vowel makes the first vowel long. So anyway, but that's another story. But that's our education system.
So I hope she slapped her, but never mind.
Okay.
I want a quarter tag formation with men in the middle.
Okay. Heads touch quarter.
Okay, heads. So I'm going to make you figure out what's going on.
Okay. The center boys run. I guess I think you have to tell Taminations that. All right, swing through. Split circulate. That still puts me in a wave. Centers run. Couple circulate. Ferris wheel, centers step to a wave. I think that gets it.
I would say so. Let's see what happens. So we put that in here. It doesn't like touch. Let's try centers step to a wave.
Oh.
Let's go back and play the whole thing and see what's going on.
I had to circulate when I probably didn't need it.
Split circulate, centers run.
Okay, the Ferris from there would do it.
Oh yeah, we didn't need the couple circulate.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can delete a given line in here.
No, sorry, you can't delete a line.
Not yet, anyway.
Okay, let's undo that. And now
sometimes people have got into quarter tag with the other sex in the middle, and gosh, if only somebody would invent a call that would just like swap them.
Oh, we could have done that, huh? Oh, centers touch.
Right.
So let's look at that whole sequence and everybody watch and pay attention. So what John did was had the heads touch a quarter and those boys run. Then he did a swing through and split circulate, got same sexes together. Ferris wheel got the men in the middle and step to a wave.
You can turn the speed down a little bit on that, Don, if you wanted to.
Let's do that. Okay. Heads touch a quarter. Center boys run. Crash. We have a zero box. I mean, a chain through setup. Swing through gives us parallel waves with the men in the middle. Now the split circulate is where we start getting same sexes together. That's what got us there. Centers run, we still have same sexes together, but couples instead of waves. We want those guys in the middle. So we're going to put them there. And then we're going to have them crash. Sorry about that, guys. Let's reboot. New.
I've had floors do that to me.
Okay, let's go back to Safari, new page, Damnations.
I think you could have just refreshed Taminations. It would have done it without having to go all the way out.
You're right. Let's see if we can get a crash again so we can do that. Now, I got to get back in. Am I sharing my screen right now?
No.
No.
No, okay. I got to get back to finding the rest of you here. Oh, because I'm in Safari. Let's get to Damnations. Hey, all those people there. That's cool. Share screen. Double click that one. Oh, let's see. Settings. Slow. Squared set. Dancer colors. None. Dancer shapes, yes. Couple numbers, we want none right now. I give up. Where were we?
That's what you should have.
We were.
If you would have refreshed, it would have done it.
Dan, are you remembering to record this?
The record is on, but I can't easily scroll back and see where it was.
I know. I'm just hoping that you'd forgotten so nobody would see my messing around here. I did want to mention something that Chris said before. Hey, they're going that slowly. Gives me time to type.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's
don't
do
have
it.
couples.
I forgot this part. Oh man, the Damnations takes over before my spell checker does. So we'd come up with this before we remembered we wanted the men in the middle. And I know we're trying to stay with mainstream, but Chris did point out that if you're calling plus, is this what you were referring to, Chris?
I think he was talking about a zoom after the Ferris wheel.
No, I think he was
Oh,
talking
no,
about
the zoom after the Ferris wheel is a good idea, but I was actually thinking of you already did the girl swing through and then you were like, oops, we wanted boys in there. So I was thinking of this one.
Okay. Let's try the other approach here, getting the girls back in without a ping pong circulate. See why.
Am I supposed to be doing something?
So,
okay.
So somebody suggested to get the girls in the middle. I mean, the opposite sex, whichever we had, we do a Zoom. And that works. Anyway, yeah, when it goes slower, you can really see it. It gives you thinking time. Let's, from here, let's get to facing lines with regular couples. Patrick Krause, Colorado. Get me to regular couples facing lines with regular couples.
Thanks, Dan.
Oh, let's see.
Hinge, boys trade, boys run, then line.
Let's see, extend.
That sounds good.
Boys run.
Okay. We could do girls you turn back, but that's too easy. We won't do that, right?
Couples trade. Partner trade.
Let's see how this works. Good enough.
Well, that was weird. Okay. Partner trade was better.
Let's undo that and think about so what we could do. Let's see a partner trade, as you say. And that would have done it. Oh no.
Just hit your play button again.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what that does.
No, it just started and then replay.
We had normal facing lines facing out, right? Wouldn't just bend the line take care of it?
Yeah,
Well,
bend the line with that too. Yeah.
That's the next one I was going to talk about, Daryl, and I was going to tell you why it was terrible.
Okay. Good for you.
Because of the previous call with the men run, it would have been great flow for one half of the couple square and terrible flow for one of the others. Squared set, slow, grid, dancer colors, none, dancer shapes, yes. Couple numbers, none.
It seems to me that the trouble started when you turned the speedway down.
Since we are going, we'll try moving it up, Chris. Actually, let me see what else I have open. Quit out a word. I guess that's the worst thing that was using some of my memory. Let's play this. Let's run this again. And I'm going to be pointing at the guy. We're going to be thinking of, oh, I know it. I'll just bend the line in here. And now we're going to play the whole sequence.
You got to hit enter to get that in there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to play that, but that's okay. We can play it later. Ferris wheel, ping pong circulate, put the guys in the middle, extend, recycle, zoom, put the women in the middle, step to a wave or swing through. I guess I should be looking here to see what we were doing. So we just got to here. I'm gonna, so the boys run came this way and they're gonna bend the line great. The boys run came this way and their bend the line reverses direction. And how can I set that up more quickly? I just, it's beyond what we're doing here, but it's okay. I'm gonna square your set, heads, lead, right, star through. I don't even remember what we were doing here.
Don?
Yeah.
Don, why don't you do a heads pass through, clover leaf? No, pass through, separate around, one to a line, pass through, wheel and deal, and see what happens.
I can get it from here.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna drop it down to slowly so we can watch body flow and hope that doesn't kill it. So we're gonna play this thing here. All right. So we're doing a heads lead right, lead right, lead right, lead right, newer dancers. Veer left, no, star through. And I'll tell you when to wake up and pay attention here. Women turn back. Now watch this. We're going to have the men run and bend the line. This couple will go smoothly. This one has to men run and then abruptly back up. That was the body flow thing I was concerned about. Holy cow, did I waste time on that? Let's do one more going someplace.
Let me say one thing.
Yeah.
John, you don't have the end run and bend the line. I don't care what you are.
Exactly. It works for moving the dolls, but it doesn't work for the dancers.
Exactly.
Reset. Let's see, starting at the bottom of the list. Phil, we haven't made you talk yet. Your mic is muted, so open it beforehand. Why don't you set up for us lines facing out with half sashayed couples?
Okay, let's have the heads touch a quarter. That boy run.
You want to see each move, or should I?
Oh, I want to see it.
Okay. Heads touch a quarter. Center, men, run.
Okay, so we want half sashayed lines facing out. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Everybody half sachet.
Is that how you spell it? No, it's A-Y.
This is terrible flow.
Well, aside from that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The first step is recognizing that it's terrible flow. So that's okay, Phil. Keep going.
All right. Let's have everybody veer right. That's really bad flow. Bend the line. And pass through.
Exercise complete. Dancer's dizzy, but exercise is complete.
Yeah, exactly.
But you got us there, and it was a little thinking time in the process. So let me unhide my screen for a minute. And hold on one second. Sorry about that. So I can't believe it, but the time has gone by quickly. And so the question, and I didn't get to everybody on the list, that's cool. The question is how many people felt this exercise was worthwhile and would like to do this again sometime?
I think it's great.
Yeah, I like that.
I see enough positives that we'll do that. Good.
Don, I can tell you right now, in a couple of these sessions, a couple of mine and a couple of free sessions, just simple formation management, moving the dancers from one to another to understand the movements. Some of those have lasted up to 6 hours. So there's a lot of new callers and newer callers that definitely like doing this.
That was I got that impression for the first few sessions where we did some kind of a doll moving. Now with the addition of Camnation sequencer, and with Chris reminding me that that was a good way to be going through, we could do this again. It seems to be a fun thing and easy and hopefully not embarrassing for people. But I did find that if I have a list of attendees on the right side, every time somebody talks, they go up to the top of the list. So working my way down the list didn't help, but working my way from the bottom up, which I only started at the end, gave me people that hadn't spoken yet. So if you don't want to be picked on, just say something. Say something, just throw in a random comment. That'll put you at the top of the list and it won't get you called up on bottom.
So, we can also break this up into smaller groups. As necessary.
We could, but I'm not convinced of the value of this. I think talking it through for the newer people, seeing what our thinking is better. And plus we're all part of what's going on, and we're not that large a group, so we could go through more quickly.
Hey, Don, I think this is a good exercise. I mean, I can play with my dolls all day, but I don't get it in real time. And then I also, when we're doing it in a group, it puts me on the spot to do some more spontaneous thinking, because I could sit there and watch my dolls all day, and they'll take their sweet time. But when you're calling us out in a group, you have to react, and that's what I need to build up is my reaction time.
But dividing us into two groups allows us to actually speak during the conversation as opposed to sit and watch the entire time.
I think it's instructive to also see how other people are thinking. Because I'm doing the exercise, even though someone else is also doing the exercise, I'm doing it in my head. Also,
well,
yeah.
Sometimes we may try it with two groups, and I'll pick a co-leader to handle one of the groups. Last time we broke into groups, Dan let Zoom do it for us, and it ended up with putting all newbies together and all experienced people together, and it wasn't too useful. But he's learned you don't have to. You don't have.
That was suboptimal.
So let's make it officially ended right now. Thank you guys for participating. Thank you for your ideas. I'm going to keep this in mind for the next time that I can't think of anybody to help present something good. And with that in mind, we're officially done. Thank you, goodbye. And now if you want to hang around and do a little more of this, I'm willing to hang around for at least 15 minutes more.
So are we not having a meeting next week?
Oh, next week, no meeting.
Okay.
U.S. celebration of 4th of July. And no comments about how we celebrate this year. And everybody else just has the 4th of July. It happens every July. Are you,
Mel has a question.
Yeah.
Mel, was that a question or were you waving?
Yeah, no, it was a question. Do you mind if I share my screen for a second?
No, go ahead. I don't mind. Oh, yeah.
Okay. A while back, on mine you did a piece on mental image calling.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of questions, and they've now got it set. You were talking about tracking one dancer, tracking one male, or one female.
Yep.
Walking through on mental imaging. Now that Caminations is set up to do this, I've been getting a lot of questions about it, but I'm blatantly honest, my ability with mental image calling is a lot more limited than I would really like it to be. And I was thinking a session on just how to track one man, or for the lady callers, which is the question I usually get, tracking one lady. Would you be able to do just a little bit more explanation, or even by example, just tracking one, explaining your X's and O's as you go through in another session?
I don't know. the problem.
Come on, Don.
The problem is, I could do mental image, but I don't want to push that here, and that takes a lot longer to teach. And I'm working on that on some closed sessions. We could add what we were just doing, but adding one active dancer during the process. In other words, get that woman that you have there over to this, get her on parallel waves, get her on the end facing in. We could try doing stuff like that. But I don't want to take time talking about X's and O's here. It just doesn't seem
that's fine. It's just, like I said, it's a question that I get a lot of, and it's not one that I'm really prepared to answer in the depth that I think.
By all means, Mel, pass those questions on to me, though.
I have been.
Good.
Don?
Yes, Dan, Daryl.
You and I have been collaborating on some of that.
Yeah.
Would it be wrong to say that we have figured a simple way to use to track the number one lady or track the number one man? They both work.
The only question I have, Daryl, is you still have to have a feel for which partners exchange, which calls exchange partners and which don't.
Yeah, definitely. And no matter what you do, it's going to have to take care of partner changes.
And that's the part that worries me, that might take too much time in a group like this. But if you feel you can abbreviate it, you got a session. What I would suggest, Daryl, is that you do one session for us following the man, and then do a parallel session the following week following the woman.
That's probably a good idea.
I thought what was being suggested was to do more of the same kind of exercise that we just did, except for the problem, put so and so somewhere. Instead of just saying put the girls on the end, it would be put the number one girl, let's say that's who you're tracking, put her on the end facing out. And so that's just adding another little extra wrinkle to the game, but still not tracking X's or O's. And we could do that by just coloring that one person, a funny color in the terminations, and just changing the game just slightly to add the extra problem of.
I agree, Chris. Daryl, that might be a good thing, is do one session first of just following an active person, and then we'll worry about setting up the Alaman spots and
why don't we talk about this together? Let's come up with some kind of a plan that might not work, but yeah. We're going through a thing right now of trying to make it simple. If it isn't simple enough for the new callers to understand right up front,
exactly,
it's a waste.
Rich, how was the wedding?
We're not there yet. We're just about there. We're driving.
Oh, okay. couldn't stay away, huh?
No.
Okay. Well, we've officially ended, but we've had fun, and we're just gabbing right now, thinking of future stuff.
Okay, well, I'll listen as I drive.
Okay. Daryl, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to leave here in just when I finish saying this. So much of what we did today was really, really good. It's a good idea and everything. But I would like to say that most of what the experienced callers use to solve the problems that you ran into boils down to modules. Now, there are modules, maybe not equivalents or zeros or technical zeros or whatever, but they're just modules. They're ways that you remember how to set up to get it to a particular value so you can do those things. If you want a he, she, two-phase line, well, an experienced caller is probably going to have half a dozen things right on top of his head that he can call just like that to get there.
Yeah.
And you plug those things in, but you don't search for it on the spot like we're having to do today.
I've never used modules. I don't even really know any.
Chris, don't start that argument
Yeah.
with Daryl because he thinks everybody uses modules. So,
Well, no, modules is certainly a way to go, and I think, as far as I understand, that's what the majority of people do. I just wanted to point out that that's not the only thing that some experienced callers do. I don't do a module at all.
people also have been using a term which I like, of flow modules. They just something that flows nicely if you use 2 or 3 or 4 calls together. You don't care whether it's an X or no. You don't care who goes where, but you just like the way it flows. And I'm sure Daryl considers flow modules a module also, and I'm sure you have some of those in your mental database.
A module is a combination of movements with a specific purpose in mind. Now, if you're trying to say, okay, I'm going to set up for relay the deucey or spin chain through, because we're at mainstream. Okay, I'm going to have parallel waves. I know I can do these movements and get to where I need to be. That is a module. That's why I say everybody uses modules, because modules are a group of calls with a specific purpose in mind. Now,
right, but I don't. When I'm calling, I don't use modules, because I don't say to myself, "What are some ways that I know to get to a particular place?" I just do it call by call. I make it up on the spot every time. It's like I'm writing a new module every time. And of course, sometimes you repeat yourself because sometimes you go head square through 4, swing through, boys run, Ferris wheel pass through, swing the corner, or something like that. Some sequence that you've heard a million billion times. That's of course a really boring singing call type sequence. But but I don't have any repertoire of things in my head that are pre-made that I know that I can go to. I don't have any.
How did you know what you just said then?
Actually, the way I know that is because I followed it on mental image. I could have said heads past the ocean, extend, explode, slide through, veer to the left, AC deucey, bend the line, join hands and circle to the left or something. But I just made that up on mental image just now. I never.
You sight call every single singing call you've ever done.
Unless I'm doing yeah, basically, yeah.
I told you guys not to get into
after
that.
After I do the sequence, I go, "Oh, I've done that before."
Nobody was going to win.
I have yet to meet a caller that I've met a lot of callers that say they never use modules, but I have yet to find one that can actually prove it in the long run.
Well, there's no way that I can prove to you what's going on inside my head. I'm just telling you.
The idea of what Daryl was saying, what I was saying as well, is not all callers use modules in the same sequences at the same ways that other callers do, but all callers that learn the basic foundations and fundamentals of calling have certain sequences that do things, the magic module, a flow module, things that will set up different sequences for what they want, or specific get outs from specific phasars that they use repeatedly, or a focus. And although they cite to them, they cite out of them, that the repetition of that sequence is in their mind. That is a module. I also extend what Daryl is saying. I use the technique, the different resolution techniques are modules, because it's a specific memorized technique to take you from one known phasar state to an end state, or from one place with a specific purpose to take you to another place. So all of those are classed as modules. How we actually define them.
I would say a module is something that you thought of beforehand, and I don't think of things beforehand.
No, that's not correct. A module is just a series of calls put together in a certain order.
Well, in that case, then everything that everybody ever calls is a module. The whole dance is a module.
Actually, it's a 0 because it starts at home and ends at home.
Right.
Chris, I told you not to start that argument. I knew you would. Chris mentioned that he doesn't know really what's going on in his head. I've known Chris for 35 or 40 years, and I'm still trying to go on figure out what's going on in his head. But We've talked about that many times. I know there is a lot going on, and it's good stuff. So Dan, are you still there even though you're not pictured? I have a technical question for you. Good, you slipped out. All right. It was a hard
one last one for Chris, and then I'm going to back out of the thing and go take care of the wife. What's the difference between a star through and spread, head star through and spread, or heads pass through, separate around one to the line, as far as the formation goes?
Oh, I'd have to think about it for a second. But let's see, star through and spread. So there, he's going to be over there, and on the pass through round one, they're going to be. Let's see, I hardly ever call that. Pass through round one, he's there. Pass through round one. I guess there isn't really a difference.
There's no difference. That's the point.
Right.
I don't have to wait to see what's going to happen or figure it out in my head. I know that if I need facing lines with the boys on the left end, girls on the right end, I can call a pass through, separate around one to a line, or I can call a star through and spread. I have a variety of ways of getting a star through, double pass through, centers in, cast off, 3/4 out. You know, you've got all of these different things. You know how to get from one formation to another, even if you're a supposed site caller. I call them site resolution callers, but you know how to track the dancers. If you don't know what this call is going to do at the end, so you know what to call next, your dance is going to be stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. Now, I don't think you do that.
Well, it's just that I don't call star through and spread very often.
Well, you don't have to. It was just an example.
Well, you either have to call it a lot and remember that it does that, or you have to have said to yourself, I need a module that I'll memorize for whenever I want to do that.
That is a module that I memorize, that I have at my command anytime I want to do it.
Sure.
If you don't, how do you set up facing lines with boys on one end and girls on the other?
How would I do it?
Yeah.
I would make something up.
How?
Yeah, I
What
think
do you mean how?
Getting into the difference between movement mechanics and launchers.
So and spread is a plus. So if we're keeping the mainstream, let's do a star through, double pass through, centers in, cast off, 3/4.
Yes.
And I just made that up.
One to a line, or you know, there's so many different ways of doing that. It's ridiculous. But the idea.
Sure. Well, I've never had a problem getting to a formation that I don't know. I've been calling for decades, and nobody's ever said, "Gee, he seems like he's lost."
No, I wouldn't think so, and I didn't suggest that. What I am suggesting is that if you've got groups of movements that you use with a purpose in mind, and maybe it's just to create a particular kind of wave or column or arrangement or formation, how do you get to diamonds? Well, I can do this and this. And I can't believe you tell me how you would get to diamonds. Okay. Thank you, everybody. It's been fun. It's been interesting.
Dan
Chris,
needs to boot
nice
himself.
meeting you, both of
Dan,
you.
you're not muted.
I'm leaving. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, Daryl.
Thank you. Hi. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Hi,
Remember,
thank you.
next week, enjoy your freedom. Week after, we'll figure out something, maybe another one of these exercises. And the week after, Janet's gonna tell us about her call analysis sheet and the things that are different from her starting point of Caller Labs. I think that was what it was, Janet. And since a lot of people seemed interested last time. And with that, I'm just wishing that the technology will come along sometime so the camera can be on my computer, can be in the middle of my screen, behind my screen, so that when I'm looking at the screen, it doesn't look like I'm looking down, and I don't have to look up at the camera to make believe I'm looking at you guys and then not see what's happening on the screen. But technology's not there yet, unless you use a separate camera like Mel is. Anyway, guys, I got to run. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Dan, for MC, the technical stuff. Thank you all for participating, and have a good 2 weeks. See ya.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Now.
Yeah, Chris, that's just a difference in discussion. We're talking, Daryl extends the definition of modules into movement mechanics, whereas other callers think of modules as a fixed sequence, that is a repetitive sequence, usually corner box to corner box. They're both modules, it's just a matter of terminology in that particular case. Both are extremely important. But the actual choreographic management and the flow mechanics of each individual movement, like Janet was saying with her call analysis sheet, is what Daryl is talking about with modules, knowing where the call starts, where it puts you, and knowing a sequence of calls that you can think 2 or 3 ahead is a module. If you've thought it, you've used it, and you remember it, and you use it again. It's also sight calling, because that is essentially the essence of sight calling. When I say I've never met a pure sight caller before, and I still haven't, I'm still not convinced with Chris, because he repeated the same sequence about 6 times, you know, with the Ferris wheel or his singing calls. Those are modules, but he makes very little use of flow modules. He does a lot of isolated sight and extemporaneous sight calling for his choreographic flow.
Humming Mel. I find that when you're all going on about all the various, all the various modules, that it really goes so quickly. I remember 1 or 2, but from not starting until I was 68, I found it hard to remember. My memory is absolutely diabolical. Some bits I remember, but I use mostly sight and try and remember where people are and where they should go to. But when somebody says about a module and I say, do this, and where am I? And I haven't got a clue.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't get.
And this is I'm going to be doing 5 sessions that are focused on building blocks with modules themselves coming up on Zoom. But what you'll hear a lot of the time is, I call it the feeding with a fire hose syndrome. If I say to you a corner box to a corner box module, you understand that that's, I get to a corner box, I do a few movements, it takes me back to a corner box. And that's it. If I say, well, if I call swing through, girls circulate, boys trade, boys run, bend the line, touch a quarter, roll, circulate, boys run.